don't know about, but I'm sure that we will find out as time permits and as time goes by. Here's one locally, which is interesting. Headlines: of federal grand jury looking into the state pier and school projects. Now, Sean led off the news with this story. Oh, the dirtiness, the tangled webs that we weave when first we practice to deceive. So you notice that a lot of Lamont's folks are jumping ship, right? A lot of people are getting out while the getting is good before the hammers start coming down. Well, a federal grand jury has issued a subpoena for documents involving Costianos. I don't know how to say it. It's Constantinios Costa. I don't know. The guy who we put in charge of the port. I'm not even going to try to say his name. But is this the beginning? Is this the crack in the armor? Will this end up shaking the foundation that is the Lamont administration? It's interesting to see where this ends up going. I was looking through the actual investigation last night. I mean, I dare say it's hundreds of pages long, so I didn't, I just went through the basics of it. But the grand jury subpoena is issued by the federal government to gather evidence as part of an investigation. The focus of the investigation still remains unclear. So right here in our very backyard, we could have a scandal. There's a lot of folks involved in this project that you know by name. Lots, right? And we'll see what gets unearthed here as they begin to dig. There have been people talking about this, a whole port deal for 3-4 years, right? People fighting against it. I'm curious too. Apparently you can't get anywhere near the place, right? Kevin Blacker, who is the chief foe to the windmill operation, and he's been on the show a couple times. I think it was yesterday, the day before he called in. I mean, he said you can't even get near the place. They run you out of there. There's cameras everywhere. What are they doing down there? So that's story 3. You see where the U.S. Special Forces carried out a successful mission in northwest Syria. Unfortunately, a number of children were killed in this operation. Not a lot of details that are being released. However, again, I find some things now, as I've been doing this a long time, I find things odd. When you have a special forces raid, and that they happen, let's say, within 12 hours, 16 hours, within a day, whatever the time frame you want to put on it. Rarely do you see video footage or pictures of those operations. Right? How long did it take us to get pictures back from bin Laden being killed? There's pictures up on the internet of this already. Bullet holes in walls and inside rooms, which means that somebody who is part of this had taken pictures and released them. I'm surprised. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's me thinking that there's a little bit more here than meets the eye. I don't know. But this whole raid in Syria were a number of casualties. No U.S. casualties, according to reports, which is good. But we do have some kids, and that is never good. So we'll follow that story as it continues to evolve. Susan Sarandon. Maybe you missed this one. Susan Sarandon, who at one point in time was the darling of the movie industry, right? I mean, Bull Durham. She was Thelma and Louise. I think she's still Tim Robbins' wife, isn't she? I think. I don't know. Maybe not. But Susan Sarandon, she compares the New York Police Department funeral to fascism. Fascism. So cops who are paying respect to an officer who was ambushed and killed, young guy too, and they're at the event, she compares that to fascism, as if somehow that is akin to a Hitler-esque, like a picture, a snapshot of something that Hitler would be involved in, with a bunch of uniformed officers bowing their heads and paying respect to a fallen comrade, a fallen friend, a fallen worker, police officer, peacemaker. This is the idea. This is what happens when the Hollywood liberal elites, they open their mouth and things come out, and then you realize what they really are like. And when the doors are closed and they're talking amongst themselves, they hate you. They hate you. They hate this country. They hate everything about it. And they don't mind cashing the checks when you go to the movies. But they don't like you. They disdain you. The common man, please. The thought of real working men and women, police officers, getting together to pay respects for someone who was murdered, that's a joke to her. She sees that as a joke, which is remarkable to me. Here's another one you probably missed. The Army to start discharging unvaccinated soldiers. The Army is starting to discharge those soldiers who are refusing to get vaccinated. The Pentagon said in a statement Wednesday that under a direct issue by the Secretary of the Army, involuntary administration separation proceedings against soldiers who are not vaccinated with no approved or pending exemption request. You will get vaccinated or you're out. That's your Army. Now, Rob is coming here, Rob being Simmons. He's talked about getting, a bucket of shots when he was getting into the Army and all that goes along with that. And maybe it is a little different. You're signing up, you're under the command. They own you. So they can essentially do what they will with you. But imagine that. Get a shot or you're out of the Army, protecting and serving the United States of America. That's your choice. Get it, get an experimental shot, get it. Now, that's a negative story about shots. According to the CDC, by the way, that's the Center for Disease Control, in case you were wondering. Americans are 97 times less likely to die. That's boosted Americans are 97 times less likely to die than the unvaccinated. Among the Americans who are fully vaccinated are 14 times less likely to die from coronavirus than those who are or haven't received shots. As of now, vaccination rates in the U.S. is about 64%, but only 42% of those who are eligible have received the extra shot. That seems impossible to me. For as much as we talk about people being vaccinated and how many people are actually vaccinated, they're saying to me right now in this latest report that 64% of the country are doubly vaccinated. Only 42% have had one shot. That number doesn't make any sense to me, because it seems like for sure that at least 70+% of the people out there have been doubly vaccinated. So we can watch that story as it's circulating. I will not watch, just so you know, I was having this conversation last night with my wife. I will not watch 1 second of the Olympics. How about you? Not sure where you are on that, but I am not putting my eyeballs on anything that China does. Anything that they promote, anything that they have anything to do with, I will not be paying any attention to China. Two other things. One thing that's good, Biden, I guess. Now, this probably will never happen. And, think about all the resources that we've thrown out there for stupid reasons. Biden says ending cancer while his presidency is happening is his number one priority. I think that's fantastic. I think that we should invest, if we're going to invest some money or invest time, effort, brilliant scientists, let's figure out a way to beat this thing that kills so many of our friends and family. So again, I don't think anything is going to come of that. Certainly wouldn't bet on it. But I would be all for trying to eradicate cancer, certainly. I'm not going to do it in the next 2 years, but it would be certainly something it would be much better than, let's say, the foolish ideas of dumping $5 trillion into flawed energy programs that won't work. Like a silly wind or using sunshine to start your car, that will never happen in our lifetime. If you think we can beat cancer by dumping $1 trillion into it, I mean, we should all be raising our hands for that one if that's something that could be done. And finally, just two football things. So the NFL, which for the longest time, seems as though it is, I mean, basically, it's like Teflon. You can't hurt the NFL. I'm searching for the word that I want as I try to do 3 other things, so I apologize. But invincible, maybe. Bulletproof is what I'm thinking. The NFL now is dancing in a very, very dangerous area. Because now this is the second coach has come out. Brian Flores, the lawsuit, again, which was filed yesterday, has racial implications to it. He feels like he was racially held back because of the color of his skin, which is, again, a huge story on its own. But he also says that the Miami Dolphins told him to lose games on purpose. The Cleveland Brown head coach, Hugh Jackson, now has stepped up and accused the owner of the Browns, Jimmy Haslam, of also incentivizing him to lose during the 2016-2017 season. If the integrity of a game, which I would say 70 to 80% of the people that watch bet on it, if the integrity of that game is in question, it's over. Sports, as you know it, is over. You understand that? You can't come back from not believing what you're watching is on the up and up. And